Take a look at these QR codes. Feel free to attempt to scan them. We'll explain why this is one of the best benefits we can derive from creating our art because they are useful, artistic, and scannable. In addition to being a lot of fun and cool, you can get those printed as stickers and stick them all over, which will spark people's interest in the wonderful looking QR code. You can see how this can develop into a priceless tool for a business because people will want to scan it just because it looks so cool and it will take them to your pages. Having said that, we will examine the actual operation of Stable Diffusion AI. An image dataset is used to train a specific kind of deep learning algorithm called Stable Diffusion AI. The algorithm gains the ability to recognize the various elements of each image, including its shapes, colors, and textures. It then creates new images that are similar to the ones in the dataset using this knowledge. The algorithm uses a method called diffusion to produce images, hence the name Stable Diffusion. Diffusion is the process of gradually introducing or removing noise to an image. Some benefits of using Stable Diffusion AI include, number 1, the algorithm will have the ability to produce very realistic images, which is a result of the algorithm's training using a dataset of actual images. Number 2, the algorithm can produce very imaginative images. This is so that the algorithm can create images that are distinct from those in the dataset. It is capable of producing completely unique and new images. Ready to dive deeper? Let's move then. Now, the first thing we need to do is create a QR code for ourselves, which you can do on any QR website. We went to QR.io. You just type it into Google and it came up as a random result. When we arrive at QR.io, we submit the link that we want to submit. This link could be a website through a Twitter link or an Instagram post. Once we submit the link, a QR code is generated for that link. We're going to use that image, which we downloaded as a PNG, as the control net's background image. We will need 2 models before we begin. One of them is covered by the control net version 11, and after that, we'll look for a model referred to as tile. This is the only thing left. You'll need to download the 1.45 gigabyte file. Then, we'll navigate to a different website where you'll have to download the brightness version, which is the one you're currently viewing, okay? Once those 2 have been downloaded, we should place them in the ControlNet model folder located under extensions so that we can move on. Before we continue, keep in mind that you can use any model for this. Each model will produce results that are entirely unique, some of which will be fantastic for a particular type of image and inconsistent for others. Of course, we have hundreds of models here, but you will have to test them out on your own. Here, we will attempt 1 or 2 models to give you a general idea of how to construct this, after which you can proceed as you see fit. First things first, since we'll be using both, we'll load our QR code into the ControlNet under ControlNet 0 and under ControlNet 1. Still want to learn more? If yes, please stay till the end to discover and learn a new secret prompt. Now, you can only use one, and it will produce a variety of outcomes. We'll demonstrate this in a moment, but let's start with the first one. After loading your QR code, you'll want to enable it. Now, we're going to use Paint Global Harmonious as a preprocessor and Brightness as a model for the first ControlNet, ControlNet 0. Then, in the subsequent ControlNet, we'll set the ControlNet weight at roughly 0.35 and leave the remaining values as they are. We'll select the tile that we downloaded this time instead of the one we'll pick in Paint Global Harmonious. Now, for the control weights, we're going to choose 0 for this one, 0.35 for the beginning of the control step, and 0.7 for the end of the control step. Now, depending on the outcomes you're going to get, you can experiment with these. You may occasionally get much better results, but your phone may have trouble scanning them. Other times, you'll get images that are very easy to scan, but aren't exactly what you want, so you'll have to experiment with them as you go. Now, if you have an AI idea, but you're having trouble coming up with the ideal prompt to explain it, we'll choose the best prompt for you if you leave a comment below, and we'll reveal the results in our next video. Before we move further, if you are getting value, please subscribe and like this video because it will really help us grow. Also, be sure you've turned on the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. Now, Based on the model you used, these also have a different impact on the image. Therefore, we advise you to experiment with these settings whenever you switch from the wrap animated model we're using until you achieve your desired outcomes. Next, for simplicity, we'll either use Euler or DPM Keras, plus 2M Keras on 22 before beginning with a prompt. Now, you're going to have an impact on the negative prompt as you go. As you can see, it's giving you things that you didn't ask for in terms of the prompt, which is just this one. Alright, let's select a few batches to see what we can receive. Here are the results. We just received 4 batches. At first glance, they appear to be very fascinating. Let's look at the first picture, which features a young child holding an envelope. Let's try scanning it. As you can see, it worked flawlessly. They can all be scanned, and this one is particularly intriguing because you might be able to change the eyes if you don't like the way they look. You could correct her cross-eyed condition here. They are all scannable and have a really cool appearance. You can experiment with it and try to lower it a little, but if you do, you won't be able to scan the code any longer. Now, this is one of the images we received for the ancient village. You can scan it, so give it a shot. Here are some additional images for ancient village that were flawlessly scanned. This one almost doesn't resemble a QR code, but it scans without a hitch. We can get this from something as straightforward as Megabot Masterpiece War. These outcomes are excellent and all are scannable. Here are many of the additional results we obtained. Obviously, you will need to try more than once. We frequently advise using batches of 4, or if you can handle it, 8, 10, or 12. You'll discover that the greater majority is effective and you'll get fantastic results. You can either use the seed of one of your results and keep using it, which is what we haven't done here because we were trying out different things, or you can save a specific style and keep using it. Even though it appears to be a small thing, it actually changes a lot and is really, really big. We encourage you to create some of these both for fun and as potential business, because every company will be interested in having customizable epic QR codes for all kinds of businesses and all kinds of events that they're hosting. Whether it's ticketed for a specific event or being on a bag of chips because they have some kind of promotion running, any kind of business for any kind of reason. You could create a really cool piece of art out of a business card with just that QR code. And when someone scans it with their phone, they get all the information. Yes, this is just one of the coolest and most practical tools for AI art that we've seen so far, and it has a ton of potential uses. Like we said earlier in the course of this video, if you have an AI idea, but you can't find your perfect prompt to realize it, leave a comment and we'll find the perfect prompt for you and share the result in our next video.
AI Stable Diffusion is also a tutorial channel to help you in this new artificial way to work, to stay connected with your natural intelligence and use it to scale up yourself. The engineering that processes machine learning needs to start from natural learning data. For this reason, AI Stable Diffusion will radically change our approach to natural intelligence. This channel will teach you how to enhance your natural learning and put it at the service of automatic learning to gain an ethical and professional advantage. Welcome to AI Stable Diffusion.
If you have gotten value, please subscribe and like this video because it will really help us grow. Also, be sure you have turned on the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.